All right. So for those of you who were not at Summit with us, we are just going to recap quickly. Everyone's just going to give their biggest takeaway. Your shake is on the table. What?
I want a smart board.
Okay. Thanks. She's like, can I tell you something really quick? I'll tell you later, but I really want a smart board. She was just at our neighbor's house. Clearly they must have a smart board. Anyways, okay. So for me personally, I have been to 3 summits. So my first 2 were in Nashville, and then this year it was New Orleans. My biggest takeaway this year was probably just the community and the recognition. Community, because for me, the first year I went with one coach, and Ashley, who is my upline, which you guys should all know. I know we have new girls on this call though too, but Ashley it was her first year, and she, I think, was just like a diamond. No, she must have been 1 star because I was diamond and I was her first star. So she was 1 star and I was like nothing, or I was just a diamond at my first one. Then the next year she went elite, and I was like, I want to be elite that year. And so then we pushed for it this year. She pushed for top 10 and became top 10. For me personally, watching it, and I don't know if this was running through everyone's head, I was like looking at Micah, who's, our grandma coach, who's been there for a long time. And here she is, not a long time, but like 6 years, but she's in the Millionaire Club, and being recognized and worked her butt off. She's, double 15 star, which is such an accomplishment. And then we had Ashley, who went 10 star. And then we had our team, who went elite. And we had so many girls there. And the cool part for me was just seeing how much the team had grown, but also even like the husbands, all of us who have husbands that might not be wanting to go to any events and might be totally checked out of this whole Beachbody thing and not even believe that it is a real thing. They come around, because Frankie didn't go to Summit until this year. So it took me going to 2 by myself to get him to this one. And then there was like a bunch of other husbands there this year. So I thought it was really cool just to see, like, look back and say, hey, the first year there was like no husbands. It was just a small little group. This year it's like so much bigger, and you have the husbands there too. And the husbands are starting to support you and want to be at the things with you and go to the seminars with you. So it was really awesome. And then in general for me, it was an emotional day to actually, like, I knew obviously we went elite last year, but actually sitting down there and knowing that, like, we were getting called up and our team was there supporting us, and we worked our butts off to get there. It's not an easy thing. It doesn't just happen with 1 or 2 coaches wanting to do it. It takes a whole team to do it. And to get up there and be recognized, it was like that feeling that you have in your life when I personally was like, I never knew if I'd be able to do anything. I bartended and served for like my entire life and thought that was literally going to be my life. And I was just I was gonna get an 8 to 5 job that was some salary job that I didn't really care about. And I always thought I would just live this like basic life. And I've never really been someone who, like, stood out in the crowd. I always was the girl that just like showed up at work, did my thing, and was always kind of crazy and didn't care about anything. So it was just really cool to go through that whole part of it and know that, like, we worked our butts off to get there. And to have all of you guys sitting in the audience, Pam and Kristen, I had gotten a picture from them because I had been talking with them, and they sent me a picture when I had said, I wish you guys could go up on the stage with me. And they sent me a picture of just their heads. And at that moment, I literally was bawling. And it was like, it was sweet and it was good. But for me, it was super emotional just to have a team that like supports you in that way, because most of you guys know, as you grow up, you don't have a lot of, or at least didn't have a lot of friends that I could count on, and didn't have people that supported me. Even in this journey, majority of my friends have never joined in on the journey. And that's a lot, because a lot of people don't support you when you're doing well. People would rather you not do well and just be at that basic job and not be out there like excited and loving life. So that was just awesome to have our team and everyone rocking it. Hi, Christine. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Danielle. Oh, Danielle's got on. You're not at work. Okay. Next person. You guys, I don't remember the order I gave you. Who goes next? Alex does.
Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'll be super quick. I was going to talk about Mindy Winder. I don't know how to say her last name, but her talk. So hers was one of my favorite parts of the whole conference. I mean, I loved it all. It was my first summit, so I really didn't know what to expect, but it was hard to just pick one thing to talk about. But I have like my notes here from her speech, but she spoke on Friday, and she spoke about limitless belief. And I think that's something that a lot of us struggle with. I know personally I've struggled with belief in myself through my business, and that's really held me back over the last year or whatever. And I think a lot of times we just don't believe in ourselves, whether we're feeling nervous about what other people are going to think, or whether we just don't do our daily power hour because we're like, oh, I didn't hit Success Club last month. So then you're feeling down on yourself the next month or whatever. So some of like the key points that I wrote down from her was you really have to do those affirmations of the person you want to become. So instead of waking up feeling discouraged, like I have to do my power hour, or, like I am not where I want to be, just visualize that person that you do want to be every single day, because eventually you will get there. But you just need to keep that positivity and just keep affirming. She really stressed that, which I thought was really cool because I didn't do affirmations. So I thought that was really cool. And she also shared so much about personal development, which that was like her key of what she said. It keeps bringing her back to the business. She said, you can do all the vitals, but if you aren't doing personal development, you're not doing your fundamentals. So you can rock your power hours and everything, but if you aren't doing that personal development and really applying it to your life, you're not doing your fundamentals of what it means to be a coach. And I think a lot of us teared up from her speech because she talked about when life throws you curveballs. And she said she was in like the highest of the high from her business, or in her business. And she found out her daughter, I think, has autism. And it was really emotional. And that's truly probably one of the biggest curveballs you can get. And she just said she had to go back to the fundamentals of personal development, or else she was not going to get herself out of that hole. And it was just a really inspiring story about how she took that PD that she was reading and really applied it to her business too. And now, her doctor said her daughter was never going to speak or anything, and now she's saying sentences, and she just was, we have like the best job ever. The fact that we get to like work on ourselves and read the personal development. So she really talked about the fundamentals, and she said you have to have unwavering belief in yourself and in your team, whether it's like our big team or your own personal team. You just have to have that belief. And because if you don't have that belief in yourself, like prospective coaches aren't going to take you seriously if you don't show that belief and that confidence in yourself. And so a few of the main things, my last point, and then I'll stop talking. So she said the main things is to have that limitless belief, personal development, positive affirmations, visualize. So imagine where you want to be, whether that's next month, next year, 5 years, all of it. Write down your goals write down your goals at least once a week. So I think that's, again, write down your monthly goals, yearly goals, 5-year goals, and then surround yourself with the right people, which I feel like this weekend I think we had so much fun bonding together, and it truly makes you realize that, because I've had friends before who weren't supportive of this. Like, none of my friends support what I'm doing. They don't like anything. And it was really cool to just be around a bunch of other women who are so supportive and don't bring you down. They like inspire you. So anyways, I'll stop talking.
And Alex has really pushed through. She had a lot of teachers who were judged her a ton.
Yeah.
When she became a coach, when she was posting.
Yeah.
And you have to overcome those things. And that's when you really do have to lean on the team, because a lot of times people will talk about you and judge you, but it's more awesome when you're like, I'm going to do this anyway. And you show them like, I love this because I really love what we're doing. I love our mission. I love the community. And that's why doing it by yourself is extremely hard, but doing it together is so much easier.
Yeah, I was pulled into my principal's office because a teacher came in and said I wasn't putting enough time into teaching because I just cared about my job as a coach, and the parents weren't going to like that and wouldn't want their kids to be in my class. So like that was, huge because I'm like, oh no, like that's my main income. So this is 6 months ago and I'm like, I can't coach anymore. And so it's really important to have, I wasn't doing my personal development then, and I totally sunk into that hole. And so that's why it's so important to just do these fundamentals, because this, those curveballs will come.
All right. Katie, you're next.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so can you guys all hear me? Okay. So, thanks. I was going to talk about Shailene Johnson's talk, which she was hilarious. She has so much energy, so it was really fun to listen to her. We just know her as like the super trainer, so it was interesting to understand that she like has businesses and is an entrepreneur and does talks like this all the time. So she really knows her stuff. So her stuff was more about social media and how we should be like marketing ourselves and our business, and how to get the most, I guess, success out of what we're posting. So she did make the point that like attraction marketing used to be working, but now it's not, because there's so many marketers out on social media that people are just like, it's white noise to them, basically, any ads or whatever that come out. So she made the point to stand out, do something different, because something that worked in the past isn't going to necessarily work now. And she made the point to talk about curiosity marketing instead of attraction marketing, which is like if we're posting about, for example, we're all posting about Shift Shop. Like, don't say the word Shift Shop. Don't say Beachbody. Just give them a little something, like a little nugget of information that they're going to want to know more, and ask questions about. So one of her like tokens of wisdom was, likes wear thin, questions are for the win. So instead of wanting so many likes on your posts, likes are great, but she said go for questions like, oh, what do you mean this workout program? Or, what do I have to do? Or how do you do this or whatever? So when I've noticed a shift in myself too, I'm trying really hard since we've been back to not put anything like that advertising, in our posts, and go for those questions more so. She also said, she gave like 3 nuggets of wisdom. So it was the likes were thin, questions for the win, don't tell me you're about to sell me, and borrowed words are for the birds. So make sure that everything that you're posting and talking about is authentic and yourself. And one of the things she mentioned about curiosity marketing was don't lead people to Google it, which kind of really stuck in my mind because, she made the point a lot of times, like if you say Shift Shop or Beachbody, people can go online and just Google it and find out all about Shakeology, all about our portion containers and everything like that on their own. But you want them to come to you about it and trust in you and your knowledge, and have you as their point of contact. So that's another way to think about it, like to not post all of the names and things like that on it. So those are really the main focuses that I took away from her talk.
And also for you guys, Shailene Johnson has a podcast on the podcast button. I think it's just called The Shailene Show. Yeah, The Shailene Show. And she also has Build Your Tribe. So those are 2 that you can always go on and listen to her when you're driving. I do it all the time I do the Shailene Show. I don't think I've ever really gotten into the Build Your Tribe. I've only listened to a few of those, but that's more like the business part of it. And then the Shailene Show, they have all different stuff on there. So they talk about like different weight loss things and daily inspiration and motivation and all that stuff. So if you have never listened to it, I highly recommend it. It's something you can turn on in your car. She's amazing. like Katie said, she owns a bunch of businesses and rocks them all. And she's like a social media, I don't know, rock star. She's awesome.
And I've started following, sorry, Jessie, I've started following her on Instagram too. So she has a lot of stuff on there that I've kind of like just peeked at to see what she does. Cause obviously she's using the curiosity marketing instead of the attraction marketing now. So
even with Shakeology, you can put like, instead of posting a Shakeology bottle, I mean, I do sometimes have my Shakeology actually say Shakeology in it, but you can post about the things that are in it. Why are you loving it? How is it making you feel? Why is it convenient? Those are the things that people are going to relate to because they can go get anything. And a lot of people in the beginning think Shakeology is just a protein shake. So they're like, oh, I'll go get it cheaper. I'll use this one instead. And if they knew the ingredients that's in it or the process of how it's made and all of that stuff, it would change their mind. And Kathleen, I didn't know you were on this call until while Katie was talking. Okay, next was Tanya, right?
Hi guys. So my topic is empowering and developing leaders. I feel like this is definitely an area that I need to improve in. I don't consider myself a strong leader, and so this is something that I definitely want to try and get better at as I'm building my team. I'm just going to go through the stuff that I have here. We have to create a culture of belief in our team. So, obviously we want to believe in ourselves, but we also want to put that into our coaches and make sure that they have the right mindset along with our mindset as far as leading them and helping them, reach their goals as well as reaching our own. Let's see. Sorry. So a few points that I think Micah is the one that talked about this one was giving your coaches room to create their own vision. So you want to find out, what their passions are, what their goals are for the business, how do they learn so that you can, better help them reach their goals. They need from you to move forward as a coach, like how you can help them, how you can lead them. And then just helping them like set good examples. You want to put, the expectations of what you have for them, what you want them to do. So, getting on team calls, getting on the national wake up call. You want to make sure that they're doing that as well as you doing it. Let's see. And then making sure that, you're doing the vitals, just like Alex had said, we have to do the vitals, and then making sure that they're doing them as well. So that way, they are doing everything that they need to do. Let's see. And then the other thing was, okay, so recognizing them as well, when they hit Success Club, making sure that you call them out and, just praise them for their hard work. When they are just doing really good and putting in the effort, you want to recognize them and encourage them to keep going and keep doing what they're doing. So I think that's it.
Awesome. And you guys, that all comes back to just being as leaders, and as you grow your team, we all get to help each other and grow from each other. Whether if you're on this team, you are on this team with every single person that's on it. And the more that you step out of your comfort zone and try to get to know people and ask questions, I know it's scary especially when you're a new coach, to say like, hey, I have a question on this or that, because you think that like everyone's further, but I promise you, we all have the same questions. We forget things all the time too. So it's a good reminder. Anytime you have a question, you always just got to ask and see, hey, I'm having issues with this, or I don't know how to send this invite, or I sent a bunch of these. And just know that everyone's here to support each other. We all want each other to be successful, not sex, but Kristen, you're next.
Okay, so first off, before I start talking about Melanie Mitro, I just want to say that I don't know if it was my mindset that shifted this year or if Summit was just a million times more awesome than last year, but I felt like all of the speakers were completely on point. So I was taking notes like a mad woman. But I wanted to talk to you guys about Melanie Mitro's presentation. I actually think she gave 2, but this is the first one that she did. And she just kind of hit home on a lot of points that I've been kind of starting to discover through personal development over this past year, but like hearing her say them out loud was super helpful. So one of the things were that obstacles are signs of success. So the more obstacles you face, the more successful you become. And I know like that hit home with me because I've had like a million setbacks going on over this past year. And I have started to learn that the more things I have to overcome and get past, the easier it becomes to fight like the small little obstacles that get in my way. So if you feel like you're really struggling with things and you're looking at someone else and you're thinking in your head, gosh, if only like my life was super normal and organized and the day-to-day was the same every day, I could build this business. But that's like completely false. So if you're struggling with things, don't let that be something that makes you give up. So she said to focus on opportunity, that disadvantage does not exist unless you think it exists. So if you think you're at a disadvantage, then you are, because your mindset is thinking you're at a disadvantage. But if you're not looking at your circumstances as putting you behind and just looking at it as a challenge or an opportunity to overcome something within yourself or within your team and push yourself forward, then that's what's going to happen. So you want to focus on the positivity. The other thing is, she said, if you think that you've tried everything, list it out. So this is something I know that I had to start becoming more mindful of in my power hours, because when you're not writing stuff down and you're just thinking in your head and you're super overwhelmed, you start to miss that you haven't actually tried everything, or maybe you're not doing as much as you thought you are doing. So if you think you've done everything, just grab that pen and paper or grab your iPhone and type it out and start listing out all of the attempts you've made and kind of think, okay, what's missing from here, or where else can I go? And then don't get distracted by numbers, ranks, anything like that. You really need to know your mission. You have to know what you want to do with your business. So know what diamond means to you. Know what emerald means to you, and push for that. Push for, for me, I really want to lead a team and I really want to focus on helping others. And sometimes I get distracted by not having enough people under me to hit that rank, or not having people that are pushing hard enough. But what I'm forgetting to do is go back to the team that I do have, go back to helping those people. And when you do that, you start feeling more confident in yourself, more, good about yourself and everything that you're doing. And that's what's going to push you forward. So really know your mission and use your strengths to be a vehicle of positivity and change. So use what you have and just keep driving towards pushing forward, pushing other people to be better, and stop worrying so much about all the things that are going wrong, or all the people that keep turning you down. Get on your train. I know this is from another talk, but there was a coach that said, I'm on the train to success, and you can either get on it and go with me, or you can get off and stay where you are. So people are going to fall off. Don't focus on those people. Just keep focusing on your own mission and moving forward from there. So.
And that train to success, one of the trainings that I was in, one of the leaders that was talked about how she lost 68 diamonds when she's lost 6 or 7 six-figure earners in her business. And when you think about it that way and you're like, oh, I lost one coach and it's the end of the world, or this girl doesn't want to do it, and we let it get to us, like, that is part of this business. If it was like super easy and you just started and you were just a millionaire in that company, well, everyone obviously would just join and do it because that'd be super easy and simple. But it's not that way. You have to go through struggles just like you do in every other business that you are in. You are going to have ups and downs. You're going to have lows and highs, and you're going to struggle. But when you're the CEO of your own business and you don't give up and you have that mentality of, I'm on this success train and that's where I'm headed, no one's going to stop me. You're either going to join me or you're going to go your separate way. Then you're going to just keep moving forward. No one can bring you down. So you just have to keep that in your head. Pam is next. Then Pamela, then Danielle, then Stephanie C. And then Christine. Okay, sorry. Go.
Me, Pam? Me?
Yes.
Okay. So I will be pretty quick. So I was going to talk about what Bonnie Engel talked to us about, which is social media and how to be branding yourself. The biggest thing, and Katie kind of touched on this already, and I'm sure like as you're listening, a lot of similar ideas and concepts were talked about throughout all of the presentations. But the main thing she talked about was to be you. Don't get lost in the sameness. You want to find things that are special and unique about you, because those are the type of people that you want to be attracting. So she gave us 3 questions to ask yourself. And what she showed us that she does is every month she writes each question on, hey, Chloe. Every month she writes each question on an index card. And then she writes out just like 4 or 5 bullet points to answer the question. So the first question was, what makes me special or unique? So what makes me special or unique? The second question is, what have I overcome? And she said, don't necessarily need to think about the big, huge struggles or obstacles that you have been through. Like, you can include those, but think about the things that you go through in your daily life. So I think she mentioned at one point, like, I, successfully folded all the laundry today. And I'm trying to pull these slides up here. So yeah, I restarted laundry 3 times today. I'm loving the new Bruno Mars song. I took a nap at 3 p.m. on a Monday. The past 7 videos of my phone or pictures are all of my dog. So again, just things that are special or unique about you. And then what have I overcome? And then the third one is, what is normal about me? So like I was just saying, things that you do in your normal day-to-day life, they don't have to be super cool or super interesting, because people want to relate to normal. They want to relate to you struggling to fold all of your laundry while you're running around with your kids and, trying to get in all the day-to-day things of life. So, and then the things that she listed that were like special and unique to her, just to kind of give you an idea of, what she was getting at. She wrote, I found a charcoal toothpaste powder that actually works. I was able to modify my workout for the yard. I was able to experience a personal shopper, and I discovered that I love antique shopping. So again, these are not... Yeah, I'll post them right here in the group chat in a second so you can copy down the questions. But again, they're not like super extraordinary, super cool things. They're just normal things that are special to you that other people are going to be able to relate to. She also said that if you're scrolling through your social media page, you should be able to know, or someone who's going to your page should be able to tell 7 different things about you just from looking at your social media page. So if you're not posting a variety of different things, you want to make sure, again, you're posting a variety, because you want to be attracting, you want to cast a wider net of potential challengers and coaches. She said joining interest groups that have nothing to do with fitness. So other things that you care about or you were involved in. So like, I'm in a few teacher groups for teachers. I know Katie and I think Kristen are in like dog mom groups and whatnot. So Jessie, I think you're in the mom group. So find, what other groups that you could be getting into, to connect with people, to build relationships in the group, to add them to your network. And then the other two little things was she said speak to who you were before Beachbody. So when you're posting, post to the person that you were before you found this community. And you want that person seeing what you are writing and be able to relate to it. And then with inviting to challenge groups or coaching, she said, and kind of like Shailene said this also, but to drop little nuggets throughout the week of like, oh, I, got through my first workout today, or, just little tiny things throughout the week, and then lead that up to your invite post. And there's a book kind of about that. It's called Jab, Jab, Right Hook, I think it is. Or Jab, Jab, Hook, or something like that. It's by Gary Vaynerchuk, I think his last name is. And he spoke at Summit last year, but that book was awesome. So if you haven't read that, you can pick that up too. That's it.
Okay, does anyone have questions? I'm going to put a Google Doc together that will have all the videos in it once. I just have to find them all because they're all on YouTube. So we'll have one. So any of you that want to go back and watch the videos, you will have access to all those. And also we will have Pam put that in the Google Doc too. And she's posting it right now for you guys. Okay, Pamela, you're next.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I don't usually wear these headphones, so I'm trying to figure it out. First, Pam, when I saw your husband walk in the back, I got freaked out. Like, oh my God, there's a man back there. I don't know why, but I freaked out. So, I guess this was my first summit, so I didn't really know 100% what to expect or anything like that. But I think some of the biggest things that I took away was just feeling the community of everybody that's there, getting to like actually physically meet everyone too, because everyone's just online. So like some of these people, well, most of them I've never met. So it was nice to just hug people and like feel like you know them but not really know them. Shailene definitely spoke to me a lot. I know the girls already talked about her, but I now have her podcast. So I'm trying to catch up on some of the things that I know things have been like posted before in like our page and things, but I just, for whatever reason, I wasn't focused enough on what I need to. So Jessie had told me when I did meet her that it was going to light a fire on my butt. So I feel like that fire is coming and it's helping me like kind of refocus what I want out of everything. And also someone had said too is like our why is going to change a lot. So something that maybe my first why when I first started isn't possibly the same why I have today. So always revisiting that why is something that I feel like I need to keep doing. And then I've also, like whenever I've been to other types of conventions and I ever saw like a motivational speaker, I never went to them because I just was like, I don't need that. But really like these people were speaking to us and speaking about what we're trying to do and accomplish. So it's kind of cool. So yay, I'm hooked, I guess. Right. But yeah, that was it.
And when she says that, the funny part is they really are speaking to what we need to hear. Even Frankie, it was his first summit, and him sitting at summit, like he cried numerous times during things that they were talking about because it hits home for a lot of them. Obviously, he wasn't crying like during Shailene Johnson, but he was crying during the other ones because it really is super emotional. People are up there sharing their stories, sharing their struggles, and every single person on this call right now, whether you're just starting or you've been with me for the beginning or a coach that's on the stage, every single person goes through tons of struggles and times in their lives where they feel like a failure or things are going horribly wrong and they feel like they can't get out of anything. And that's the cool part about when you get to these conventions, you're reminded a ton, like we all have the same struggles. And that Pam is someone I tell that to all the time because she's awesome. And well, Pam is, but Pamela is I was talking about, but Pam, you're awesome too. But I tell you guys that because I know that you're awesome and we have the self-doubt. I have the same self-doubt that you guys have, and every coach in this business has that self-doubt. It's just how you choose to deal with it. And are you going to let it control you, or are you going to let it move past and make you stronger and better? Because you can be so much more if you fight through those fears. Next person, Kristen. Kristen, you went already. Danielle.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I don't do this from my phone all that often or all that often in general, so I'm learning how it goes. I'm going to apologize now if I happen to cut out. I plugged my phone in, but I had like 10% battery. But I did manage to get out of work, so I'm here. So I guess probably one of the bigger things that I took from Summit, being a first-time Summit goer, would be the 5 musts for success from Brendan Burchard. And I don't want to go through like all 5 musts because it's kind of in depth, but probably the one that hit me the most was, well, I guess there's 2. So I must raise my ambitions. And the point underneath that, which was even if people around you don't believe or understand it, don't lose your ambition. I am guilty of caring too much about what other people think and not enough about what I think. And I'm working on that. And a lot of that is aided with personal development and things, but that is something that I have struggled with my entire life thus far. So I know it's going to take some time, but I get brought down by the tiniest little thing that somebody may say, or even if I think that they think something, it sort of squishes me a little bit, and I am working on not letting that happen. And then the other thing kind of goes along with that, and that point was I must live each day with intention. And the point underneath was stop waiting for permission to pursue your dreams, and basically saying that no approval is needed from someone else. And I have to try to work on that and remember that every single day, that it does not matter what other people think that I'm doing or should be doing, because I know in my heart that I am going in the right direction and the direction that I need to be going in order to help other people that are still stuck where I once was. And even if I helped no one, I am helping myself, and that counts for something. So I think the 5 musts for success are probably one of my bigger takeaways, although everything that all the speakers had to say and whatnot really was pretty remarkable. So it's way different, definitely, hearing everything in person and being surrounded by all of you guys and thousands of other Summit goers and like-minded people than you could ever imagine. And way different than, listening to YouTube videos and recorded calls and all that kind of stuff. Something you just, I guess, really have to go to understand. So I'm glad that I did that.
Awesome. And you guys, every day that you're working on yourself is the way that you're going to improve. Like she said, even if you didn't help a single person, but you worked on yourself, you showed up in your journey, you showed up in your personal development, you're going to change as a person, and you're going to go out in the world and be a better person. Because when you feel like crap and when you are treating your body horrible, and those you act that way towards other people. And when you're making those changes to go out and be better, even if you're not helping a single person and you're working on yourself, your life is going to be better because you're showing up for yourself to be the best version of yourself. Who was going after Danielle? I don't remember. Stephanie C.
All right. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about just my experience and then get into what hit me over the last 4 days. But and I'm going to get a little personal here. So I went into Summit. I had dropped my rank. I had lost myself on my journey, like weight loss wise, and I've been going through some stuff with things at home. And so I went in and I wasn't sure what to expect from everything. And I had a pretty emotional few days. I caught myself listening to these speakers and listening to the emotion that a lot of the coaches that were up there that were like #1 coaches have gone through, and like deaths and I mean just significant life things that they've gone through. And a lot of that hit home for me. I found myself throughout the 4 days there, like I know one time I said I was fat. I know one time I said that I was ugly. My eyes were killing me. I had an allergic reaction while I was there. And just the whole experience was like kind of like eye-opening for me, because when I went to the last night celebration, and I listened to these people that went up there, they did videos of these people that were Beachbody challengers and their stories. And they went up there and they were talking about their journeys and their whys and what pushed them through this. And it made me realize what was going on in my life was like something that I could easily get through versus things that other people went through to overcome things. So the stories that hit me especially was, one was a challenger named Kevin, and he has cerebral palsy in one of his arms, and he did programs where we think about the programs and we think about how much we're using our arms, using our legs, things like that. And he did programs where he was using a weight in one arm, but he was making it happen with his other arm by wrapping weights around his arm so that he could use his arms to push up and do weights. And it was just absolutely amazing to me that that's what he overcame. But the second story that hit me was the girl who actually won. And the reason why it hit me was because she basically said her why. And her why was very simple. It was when she figured out one day that her son said to her, "Mommy, why can't you ride a roller coaster with me?" And it made me go back to the beginning of my journey, because I was getting to that point where I couldn't do things and keep up with my kids. And I was drinking a lot and eating a lot and using that. And it reminded me why I started and why I reached out to Jesse originally and what made me join this. So that right there was very eye-opening to me as to why I was here. And so I was looking for some sort of sign at Summit, like why I needed to keep on this journey. And I think it's taken me back to why I'm here. And so like the day I came back, one of my challengers reached out to me and she's like, "How was Summit?" And right away I told her the stories about what I had heard. And right away she started talking to me about finding her why again. And I knew right then and there that I have to use what I learned and use these experiences and use these inspirational stories. And I've been talking about inspiration on my Facebook, inspiration on my in my challenge group the last 2 days, just because I think sometimes it takes something like this to inspire us and remind us of our why, and go back to the basics. And I'm going back to the basics where I'm like gonna help myself, and secondly, I came back home and I want to help my husband. So that is what I took away from it. Sorry. Sorry.
Awesome. And thank you for sharing that with everyone who was not at Summit or who, didn't know your story. Stephanie's also going through a ton, and she could have easily said, hey, I don't have the money right now and I'm not going to go to Summit. And so there was a point that I actually felt like she might not come, and she still kept saying, no, I'm going to come. And so the fact that she got there with her struggles and with everything she was going through and really was ready to be there and just invest in it. And it is exactly what you need to hear. You need to be reminded that you're not a failure. And in this business, you lose rank, you lose all that stuff, and it sucks and you start to feel like a failure, but that's when you have to dive back into your journey and really start focusing on your own journey. And I know even Kristen was someone who had to do that this year too. She needed to focus first on herself, because life is going to throw you curveballs and it's going to suck and it's going to affect your journey. But the more that you just remember, hey, I'm here because I wanted to get healthy. I wanted to be the best version of myself. Charles, I'm going to kill her in 5 seconds. So yeah, thank you, Stephanie, for sharing that. And I'm glad it went well. And I'm glad that your eyes are better now. Stephanie looked at me at one point and was like, I just feel so ugly. And I was like, don't say that, because honestly, it sounds horrible, but like if you were at something and you got an eye infection and you're with all these girls dressed up, it would make you feel crappy, even though there's so many worse things in life, like getting, a little eye infection is not the end of the world. But to us, because we all have to go in front of people all the day and we're so embarrassed by like looking bad, it can totally ruin your time and it can bring you down. And I know she was having those feelings, but these speakers were able to change that, which is awesome, because there's a lot worse things. Next person is Christine, and then Christina and Stephanie after that. Christine's still on, right? Yeah.
No.
Okay, I just unmuted you. Oh, wait. There, you're good.
Okay, I didn't write a topic down, but is anyone doing Darren Daily already, or Darren Hardy? Did anyone choose that one already? Okay, perfect. So I'm going to do, so Darren Hardy, I know you guys probably get those texts every day from Darren Daily, but I thought his talk was like the most inspirational to me personally. I don't know, he's the man. So he definitely hit us with like what you can do in order to like change. So he's saying like, why aren't you more successful? Like, what's holding you back? And most likely that answer is myth. So your adversity is like your biggest advantage. So the things that you've gone through in life have really it's going to develop your muscles into, what did he say? Your past develops your muscles, not wounds. So you know how like when you work out at the gym, you really like strain your muscles more. So you strain your muscles and then you get bigger. So the same thing with adversity in your life. Like all the adversity that you face in life is going to develop yourself into like muscles, not wounds. So I thought that was pretty cool. He also has that book, The Compound Effect. I don't know if a lot of you guys have read it or not, but he was going through, I think, the different things in this book. I haven't read it, but he was saying like what you can do in order to change really your path right now. So if you want to take a different future, everything comes down to choices. So to change it, you start with choices, behavior, habits, and time. So he started with just choices in general first. So for choices, it's the little choices that you make every single day that really are going to compound in itself, and it's going to make you a better person, or it's going to make you a worse person. So the little things that you do every day. And that really like kind of hit me because I'm prepping for like a bodybuilding competition right now. So it's the little things that I do every single day, like not eat like shit when I'm on vacation, or, you know, like just the little healthy choices that you make really is what's going to make you a better person in the long run. So it's doing your personal development every day. It's doing your 5 vital behaviors every single day that's going to make you a more successful coach. Sorry, I'm like trying to cook right now also at the same time. I'm like starving. So choices are going to impact your behavior. So to change your behavior, you have to bring awareness to that behavior. So you've been doing so many different behaviors your entire life. So he made the example, like you're driving down the road and like you just figured out like, hey, I'm at work. Like that's just your brain on autopilot. So you have to change your behavior. You have to bring awareness to it. So you have to bring awareness to like what you're doing. Your behavior repeated becomes your habits. So it takes 21 days, you know what we say, 21 days to make a habit. So the repeating your behavior the same day after day after day are going to make it into habits. And that over time is going to define your future. So habits are learned. They're not just given to you. So it's something that you can definitely change. And habits, I think he made the comment that habits withdrawal is like a substance abuse withdrawal. So it's kind of the same thing as having like a drug or alcohol problem, where you have to change that behavior over time in order to change what your outcome is going to be. So he said, like, commit to 1 year. 1 year of doing the vital behaviors every single day, and you will see that compound effect will have you work and you'll get like massive results. So that was my biggest takeaway, I think. And well, I mean, there were a lot of different takeaways, but I really like Darren Hardy, so that was mine.
And if you guys don't listen to him in the morning, I know me, Christine, and Katie in the month of June, it was June, right? We're listening to him like every day. So I get them sent to my email. We all get them sent to our email. I know there's other girls on the team too. Get them sent to our email, and we would listen to them every single morning. And even his one that he did on choices, which Christine talked about, was huge for me, because he talked about how we get into these spots in our life where we are overweight, or we are struggling financially, or we can't afford whatever. And he goes into different areas, and he's like, everyone gets that point and they're like, I don't know how I got there. And he's like, you make choices to get there. Like when you put everything on your credit card and you don't have the money, but you keep spending. Each time you do that, you're putting yourself more and more in debt, and you're giving yourself that anxiety and that depression and all the stuff that's going to come with it. And same with eating. Each time you take a bite of food, you're making a choice. Each time you're either, nice to someone or mean to someone, you're making a choice. And it was really eye-opening to me that day that we like had that choice one, because we really do make choices all day long, every single day. And our outcome is all of those little choices adding up to either something that's going to be great in our life, or something that is going to bring debt and pain and stuff that we don't want. So if you guys are not, if you guys don't get his emails, I highly, highly, highly recommend them. They're only 5 minutes long, super quick in the morning. They are always like inspirational and on point. He even just had one that was like, we reached the 6th month of like the halfway through the year one, and he reached out and said, hey, are you halfway to your goals? Like, are you where you wanted to be, and what were your goals? And it was a whole thing refocused all the way back to your goals. So if you don't get it, I highly recommend it, because he is awesome and super inspirational. That was one of my favorite people to hear from this weekend, just because I was like, we get to like see him in person. Christina and Stephanie. Look at all Kelly's girls right now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about, so his name is David Atkins. He is one of the coaches. Well, he is a coach, and he told us that he's an 8-star coach, and 8-star diamond, and 2-time elite. So a little bit of a background behind him. He is a police officer with the New York Police Department. And long story short, when he decided to start coaching, there was a lot that was going on in his life. So he's working for the New York Police Department. He had a really good friend longtime friend who basically from the day like that they were in high school, college, going forward, they literally made all their decisions together. Like they decided like they were each other's best man in their wedding. They decided they were going to go to the police academy together. Like they decided they were going to join the SWAT team together. They were pretty much inseparable. So what he ended up telling us was there was 2006, he said, was the hardest year of his life. And it was because there were a lot of deaths that were happening in the police department, New York Police Department. And the one day he just so happened to be at work, he received a phone call that there had been a shooting and a police officer had gotten killed. So that same, when that happened, he immediately called one of the guys that was out there. I was like, hey, what's going on? Can you tell like who got shot? What's going on? And I guess there was a lot of, miscommunication and all the things that were going on, but come to find out his best friend, Dave, was the one who got killed in this shootout. So he was super emotional on stage and obviously like losing, I don't know what just happened. Am I good?
You're good.
Sorry, my phone messed up. Obviously losing your best friend is something that like I've never experienced. And I'm sure, some people have, obviously we all deal with issues like that and losses, but he said that this was one of the things that hit so hard for him. And it was something that he literally it was so difficult for him to overcome. But the point that came out of all of this was his topic on perseverance. And the quote that he said that really resonated with me was, life doesn't always fire a warning shot. And that literally, when he said that, I'm like, wow, there's so much opportunity that's presented to us. There are so many things that we can do in our everyday lives that will get us to a point where we want to be in life, yet there's so many things that still hold us back. And whether it's life events like unfortunate events like deaths, or whether it's something as small as us saying, oh, I don't have time for that. There's so many things and so many excuses and so many events and so many, things that can happen in life that can allow our perseverance to be stalled, and that can allow us to say, maybe it's not the right time, or I don't have it in me, or whatever our excuse might be. But through all of that, we have to realize, what? Life isn't easy. Just as this business isn't easy. If this were easy, everyone would be doing it. If it were easy to just start coaching and all of a sudden say, oh yeah, tomorrow I'm going to be a 5-star diamond and I'm going to be in the Millionaires Club and all these things, if it were easy, everybody would do it, but it's not. But the fact of the matter is through everything that we go through, we have to persevere. We can't allow our internal excuses and fears and things that happen in life to get the best of us, because if we do that, that's not only affecting us, it's affecting everyone around us, our relationships, our family, our friends, all the people on our team, everyone that we've helped this far. It's not just going to be something that affects us. It's literally going to impact everyone. So perseverance was one of the biggest things that I took away from this, because I know personally I've had a lot of ups and downs, and I've really questioned, am I cut out to do this? Is this where I really, is this where I'm supposed to be in life? And after Summit, it literally just, everything that happened at Summit just proved that I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. So that's it. Okay.
And really fast before Stephanie goes, you guys, everyone has those thoughts of, am I supposed to be here? Is this what I really want to do with my life? Because you start to think there's days where you feel like you're inviting everyone and no one wants to be in a challenge group, or no one's doing anything, and you start to feel really down about it. But something I always remind myself is where do I want to be in a few years? Do I want to be home with my daughter, or do I want to be sitting at a job? If the worst thing I'm doing is inviting people to an opportunity that changed my life and they're saying no, that's so much better than sitting in an office with my daughter with a sitter and us drowning in debt. And surrounding myself with people that aren't doing anything with their life versus people that are doing something with their life. So having those feelings and those self-doubt, like we all have them and are like, what the heck, is this really what I'm doing? But then you realize like, no, there's so many amazing things that do come from it. You just have to get back to that point. All right, Stephanie.
All right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about what Miguel Carrasco and Julie Boris talked about, and they're both top coaches. I know Julie's been in the business for a really long time. I'm not sure about Miguel, but they talked about overcoming objections and using your story to really like kick those objections in the butt. So basically, they talked about the 3 objections that we all get as coaches. It's money, time, and belief. And they said that we have to use our belief as our armor to shield against all those objections. So I'm just looking at my notes here. So the real issue when somebody says, I don't have the money, or I can't afford this, or right now I just have too many bills, I can't afford it. The real issue is that they don't see the value in what we are offering. So the best way to overcome that objection is to think about it before it even comes out of that person's mouth. When you're having a conversation back and forth with someone, focus on your story. And I'm sure that every single one of us on this call had objections before we started. We didn't believe necessarily maybe in Shakeology or the products, or we didn't know if we would get results, or we didn't know if we could afford it. So use your story and share that without taking over the conversation and without making it all about you. But before that even comes out of their mouth, feel free to bring it up and like let it out there. It can be in the open. Talk about the money and talk about, like for me personally, when Jesse asked me like a zillion times to join coaching, the final time when I finally decided yes, and I talked to my husband about it, it was kind of like, okay, well, we have to save up money and I have to cut things here. And like, we had to game plan to figure it out. So be open and honest, talk to people about that. When somebody says that they don't have time, the thing that they're really saying is that they have other priorities that they're focused on and not themselves. So our job as coaches is to help them believe in themselves, because when they believe in themselves, they'll believe that they're worth it and believe that they should be a priority too. And they did this little kind of interaction thing with us, and they had everybody stand up, and they said, stand up and reach for the sky. So everybody did. We kind of all half-assed it. We like reached up, and we were just kind of like this, and they were like, okay, reach higher. So they were reaching, and they're like, higher, 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 until everybody was like on their tippy toes, like reaching for the sky as high as they possibly could. And they said that's our job as coaches. Our job is to instill that belief in people so that we can just push them a little more and a little more and a little more. And we do that before they even sign up with us. It's our job to push their belief in themselves, the belief in Beachbody, a little bit higher every single time. So if somebody's giving you objections or say no a zillion times, it's totally okay. Continue to instill that belief in them, whether you're doing that on your page, whether you're doing that in conversations with them, and just anticipate all those objections before they come and use your story. So I know that was kind of short and sweet, but that was one of my biggest takeaways. And like big picture takeaway from Summit, the whole entire, I feel like the theme of this summit was self-belief, or like belief in the company, belief in yourself, belief in everything that Beachbody has to offer. And I know for me, before I even went into Beachbody, I was struggling with that, like hardcore, and they did a really awesome job. Every single speaker that went up there was speaking about belief. So my tips for everybody, just general hardcore, is believe in yourself. And if you're not in a place that you're believing in yourself, recognize that is normal. Because like Jesse said and Christina said and basically everybody else said, we all have those feelings. When I saw who was it, top coach Melanie Mitro, get up there and talk about like all her struggles, and like she went on the, I don't know if you guys talked about this yet because I jumped on late after Zumba, but she talked about how she struggles with anxiety to the point where she went on the top 10 trip and she couldn't even leave her room for one of like the gathering get-togethers because she was just really struggling with anxiety and all these other things and issues. So it's like she's the number one coach in this company and she's dealing with that, yet somehow, some way she's successful and she pushes through it every single day, and it's just a part of her story. So
she persevered.
Yeah, she persevered, as Christina said. So that's all I got for you guys.
And to have Melanie get up there, that was honestly, Melanie doesn't do those kind of speeches. And so when they asked her to do it, she said yes, but she was definitely freaked out because if there's anything you know about her, she is organized. She is like very, very structured, like 100% of her day. Her blockage for her days is literally hour by hour. She knows what she's doing. And for her to get up on that stage and do that for all of us was huge for her. It was scary for her, but it was also her first time really coming out and saying like, hey guys, I'm just like you. I have the same issues you have. I'm not this perfect person that she always seems to be, because she is very, business and put together. And you look at her and think like she could never struggle with anything. She's top coach for 3 years, but she does. And when Stephanie was saying have self-belief, you do need to have self-belief in yourself. And that's the thing that's going to hold you back the most, is the belief and the doubt in yourself, but also in the company. You have to stand behind everything that they do. You're not going to like it. And one of the coaches got up there and said, when they released challenge packs, she was pissed and she didn't want it. When they were released Shakeology, I don't think they talked about this, but it was on a call it was on previously. When Shakeology first came out, everyone was mad about it. It was like, no one's going to buy that. It's too expensive. And didn't give it a chance to actually go. But here's the thing about corporate. They spend millions of dollars researching things and going through things and making sure when they bring something out that it is going to be awesome. And if it ends up not being as successful as they want it to be, they will make changes so that coaches are successful. They have our back in every single thing that we do. So when they roll things out, even though we're like, I don't understand it, and you want to ask questions. I mean, I even asked my corporate person something this weekend because I was like, I'm going to back you guys, but I'm not understanding it. And she explained it and they sat and told me, and I was like, okay. But at the end of the day, anything that they roll out, I back it because I know that that's what we have to do with this company. And I know that they really believe in us. Carl is amazing. And if you haven't met him and sat and talked to him one-on-one yet, he truly cares about families. And if you didn't see it throughout the weekend, or for those of you who weren't there, they called kids up on stage and let them go up there with their moms. They had a little, I forget what the belt thing for the top coaches' sons. And our whole mission is about families. It's not about just, one leader. It's not about just the husband or the wife. It is about the entire family coming together and making a change in this entire world for everybody out there. And anything they do is going to stand behind that vision. The reason we don't have bars yet is because they can't get a bar that's clean enough to put on the shelves that's going to taste good. Yeah, they can roll out a bar that has extra crap in it, but that goes against their mission. And there was something, I forget, it might have been a bar, but there was something at one point they were asked to roll out. And it was when they first started with Beachbody. And Carl literally said no. And the reason he said no was because, it was with Shakeology. He made a promise to his wife when she brought out Shakeology that once they went through and sent it through, because the people who have to test everything and go through, and the people who do the ingredients always add other stuff in. And she had told him, I'm going to put this stuff out and then you guys are going to come in and destroy it and make it something unhealthy so that you can put it on the shelves the way you want it. And he promised her that wouldn't happen. And he has stood behind that promise every single day since. And at one point there was a company that was trying to put something in it as a filter, and he literally went in and threw a fit, and they made sure that it was not in there again. They left where it was being made and went somewhere else. So they are really 100% behind our company and wanting people to be healthy. They're not just putting out a product and saying, here, buy this, we want to make money. They really want it to work. They want you to work out in front of your kids. They want to bring fitness into the home so that people can do it and that obesity rates can go down, that families can be better, and the anxiety and the loneliness and everything that we get to do as coaches really gets to change the world. And you just got to believe in yourself and you have to believe in the product. If you're inviting someone to something and you're not able to say that it's amazing and all of these things about it, then you have to ask yourself again, like Stephanie said, when you're asking yourself, do you believe in yourself? You also have to ask yourself, do you believe in the product? Are you getting the results you want? Are you seeing the results from Shakeology? have you filled out that Shakeology form that they rolled out a few months ago. If you don't know where it is, it's in the Living to Be Fit team page under the files. But it's literally a form so that you know exactly how Shakeology is affecting your body. And you should have it filled out so that when you go and talk to people, you are able to talk about what it does for you. Because some girls say it helps a ton. Hey, Dan.
I told Kristen to tell him to get on with me.
Some people say that their hair grows longer from Shakeology, and that is awesome, and I'm sure that's true. My hair doesn't grow for the life of me, so I know personally that's not a benefit that I'm seeing, but I do see it with my nails. And so there's different things that it's going to do different things for different people's bodies, and you have to embrace what it's doing for you. Don't just take what someone else is saying and say, oh yeah, well this person posted it does this for them or makes them feel this way, because you need to really believe it in your heart. You need to believe what we're doing. You need to, they say, bleed, the blue, and it's really true. The more you believe in yourself, the more you believe in everything that this company can do for you and for your family, and you invest in it, the better it's going to be. And they'll never do something that is in any way meant to hurt anyone or drop our business or not make you a successful coach. They're doing things to improve health overall, and we are there to help roll it out and be their support system. So have their backs just like they have our backs. Everyone that was at Summit talked now, right? Just trying to. Pam, what are you saying? I believe. I believe. And it's actually funny because there was a time that a trainer left the company or whatever, and I was so freaked out that it was Danielle Natoni because I love her. And she told me, are you serious? I bleed blue. I would never do anything else. And that's the mentality you got to have. You have to stand behind it and really believe in it. And if you start doubting yourself, dive back into your own journey. But I guarantee if you're doing your personal development, the portion control, the workouts, you're investing with your family and doing it all together, your life's going to change. But make sure you are taking that personal development and applying it to your life. No one becomes successful without putting work in, and you won't become successful unless you 100% believe. And that's what it really all comes down to, because our self-doubt is the worst thing ever, and it is what makes or breaks a coach at the end of the day. That is it. Do we have any questions? Like I said, we're going to get a Google Doc together, and I'll put all the videos on there for you guys. I just haven't had a chance to do that yet. And so we'll have all that, and then Pam can also put those questions that were asked. I guess it probably says it in the video too, but she can also put them. Any other questions? No? Good. And Anna's first, do you pronounce it Anna or Anna? Anna?
It's Anna. Yeah.
Okay. I literally ask Frankie all the time, is it Anna or Anna? Okay, and this is Anna. She is a new coach. She has not been announced in the team page yet, but she will be joining our team. We also, I don't think she's on anymore. Hold on, let me see if she's still on. Austin, are you on? I don't know if she's on. She was on too. Austin is a brand new coach also who is joining the team, and she was listening in today. And I know she was on. She was one of the cell phone number people. So those are two new girls who will be getting introduced tomorrow. But thank you guys all for getting on the call tonight. And I'm excited. I know all of us are pumped up, and we want to do bigger things in the next year. And from being at this, I cannot wait to have girls walking that stage and being proud of where you're at. Because the one thing, I just put up a post about it on Facebook, but the one thing that you always want to remember is be better than you were last year. No matter what you do, if it's only that you improve in your health and fitness journey and that's what you show up next year at Summit doing, then you're still winning. If it's that you helped more people or you ranked advanced or you walked the stage, whatever it is, if you didn't get to Summit this year, then get there next year, and that's improving. But always make sure each year you improved from the previous year, because then you're just going to keep growing and you're going to keep feeling better and better. That is it. Thank you guys all for getting on. Good night.
Bye, everyone. Bye, everybody.
Oh, bye.